My stepdad had a massive stroke on Sunday and it has turned life upside down. So since then, I have been staying at my mum and stepdad's house, which is roughly kind of a couple of hours drive away from me, though I've been relying on public transport. So it's a bit of a trek for me. Save for one day where I returned home to see my kiddos, take them out for the day, and then came back to my mum and stepdad's house. So the first couple of days, the day that my stepdad had the stroke, and the following day, he was in a very bad shape. However, he could still talk. So he was still like becoming kind of more lucid, not fully like lucid, but more lucid and talking. And we thought that he was very much on the same trajectory as he was with his previous strokes. So he had a large stroke a couple of years ago, and then first stroke he had a year before that. So we've had a good couple of years stroke free, where he has been significantly disabled following his earlier strokes, but he has been at home with my mum. They haven't had carers. They have muddled on through and they have done like awesomely. But this stroke has been a different kettle of fish, really. So the first couple of days he was still talking. By day 3, things really changed. And so he's no longer talking. He's actually no longer conscious when I'm doing this voiceover. So it has been awful. But on day 2, when he was still talking, and we very much thought that he would be at some point leaving hospital and coming home, I had a sudden second wind of energy in the evening after having spent the whole day at hospital, and I decided that I was going to declutter my mum's utility room. So this is what we're doing in this video, while I try not to cry, tell you a little bit about what's going on, how we are coping with that as a family, and what I'm doing in the video as well to distract myself, really. So I think I wanted to set out what was happening in this video so that I don't seem like a weirdo who is decluttering and making videos while my stepdad lies in hospital in a terrible condition. However, thinking about it, I probably would be doing something around the house in the time that I am in the house, because it's just in my nature to keep myself as busy as possible so that I don't spend too long feeling awful. I mean, we feel awful all the time now. I think it's safe to say that there is little laughter, but we are trying our best. Whether it's recounting funny stories that happened involving my stepdad in the past, or whatever, we are trying to remind ourselves of happier times whilst we are facing the worst time. But let's talk about what I am doing in this video and distract ourselves from what is happening in real life. So my mum has a lot of projects on the go in this utility room, and one of these projects is filling up these, I think they're called pomanders. I bet I've said that wrong, but these like little pottery things, you can see me shaking out. They have holes in the top of them, and then you basically put dried flowers in that smell nice, and maybe a bit of perfumes in there, like natural oils or something, and then they smell like amazing. You put them in bedrooms, and they are, I guess, a more natural room scent than having like oil scents, etc. I found some weird things in these pomanders, including what looked like cigarette butt filters, and then this little glass vial, which my mum thinks probably had some perfume in it at some point in the past. My mum picked up these pomanders, I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know, a flea market, a charity shop. She loves to find little things secondhand. Thrifting is her favorite hobby, basically. So she's found them, and she has some lavender, dried lavender, which she had been stripping. So she'd been taking the flowers off the lavender stalks. She was part way through it when she probably got distracted by some other job or making a meal or doing something with my stepdad, because she is his main carer. She has a lot of physical care for him because he had been significantly disabled following his previous strokes. So she got distracted, that hadn't been finished. So I decided to try to finish some of the jobs that were ongoing in the utility room. So I stripped the lavender, I emptied the old little, dried flowers from these pomanders, filled them up, and then I'm popping them in the bedrooms upstairs. Lavender is supposed to be really good at getting rid of spiders as well. Like, spiders don't like lavender, and it's really good for sleep. So if you have lots of spiders, you should put lavender apparently near the windows, I believe. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong here, but it smells nice, right? And it does smell nice in the bedrooms. And I think a peaceful, natural scent at bedtime, when we are all struggling to sleep at the moment, is definitely what we need. So as I am recording this voiceover, my mum is spending the night at the hospital on the little camp bed in the room with my stepdad. I spent last night. So we are at the point now where we believe he probably has days left with us rather than weeks. And we are not at the stage where we all need to be bedside at the same time overnight, but I assume at some point that will happen. So my mum is there tonight, my sister and I are in the house doing jobs, and tomorrow morning we'll probably get up early. My sister and I want to mow the lawn because my mum was going to be doing that. That was her plan. She wanted to mow the lawn. My sister's husband and sons are coming next week. They were always coming for like a summer holiday. So they're still going to come and have some time together as a family in between hospital visits. And my mum wanted to mow the lawn. So rather than her being at the hospital, thinking of all the jobs that she would have done, which I know it sounds weird, but when you're there are periods of time where you don't have like that much to think about. And if you think about how awful the situation is, then you just spend the whole time in floods of tears. And there have been a lot of tears, and there are tears every day. But then you spend time thinking about silly things like, I should have mowed the lawn, and I have a lot of washing to do. And if you're my mum anyway, because I don't ever think this, I should iron bed sheets for my visitors next week. So I never iron my bed sheets, and honestly, I don't iron anything at all. I have never operated the iron in our house. That is my husband's job. So that's what has been occupying us. In the video on day 2, evening 2 after my stepdad's stroke, I basically taking boxes of stuff that I have found and taking it to my mum and seeing like what they are and if we need to keep them. So there's a lot of stuff in the utility was just straightforward, I wouldn't say rubbish, recycling and stuff that just needed sorting and processing, and I could do that by myself. And then there were things that I needed just to sense check with her. I didn't want to make decisions to get rid of things that might have a purpose. We found some precious things, which is what we're looking at right now. We found some old slides, like projector slides of family photographs. My granddad had loads and loads of slides of family pictures. And I have such fond memories of like all going as a family, like my aunts, uncles, cousins, going to my granddad's house. He would get the projector out and we'd do a slideshow of family memories. And I absolutely loved looking at them. I still love looking through photographs, and particularly of people that I recognise, and old, pictures of family members in years gone past. I absolutely love that. So I love that my mum still has these slides. And she'd been going through a process of converting them. Like she bought a machine, you could put the slides in and then you could save the picture to your computer. So she'd been doing that in the past, but life has just basically overtaken in the past few years. Caring for my stepdad has overtaken anything else. And she probably just put them to one side in the utility like years ago, and then they have just been consumed by other stuff. And those are sort of those precious memories, precious objects that we need to be looking after and keep them in a safe space, not in the corner of the utility room. So it's great that we've gone through this exercise, we've found some precious things, we've put them to one side, and we can keep them safe. And then in the future, my mum can come back to this project of transferring the slides to a computer so that we can all have a copy of them in the family, which is awesome thing to do. And isn't it amazing that we have technology that we can do this sort of thing now? But honestly, I'm sure in time we'll be able to send them to a company and they will do that for us, which would be amazing. But I think my mum enjoys the process of actually going through them like one by one and actually like seeing what they are and who they're of. So in the utility, we have a variety of different things. We've got cleaning products, we have got animal feed, a travel iron, just a random mishmash of stuff. So as I'm going through things, I'm trying to like organize things like as I go. So there is clear stuff in here which needs to go in the garage. There's gardening equipment that needs to go in the garage. There's insect repellent that needs to go in the garage. There's a few like kids' toys which have found their way back into the utility room. So I'm putting them together in this little wooden box that I found, because as I'm getting rid of things, we no longer need all of the storage that we had in this particular room. Now, I think it's so tempting for people to buy a load of storage before they start a project. So, you know, we buy loads of storage and then we don't actually know what we want to put in it. And then we kind of just end up with more stuff because we have all these storage boxes to fill. So I try very hard not to buy any storage at all when I'm starting a decluttering project. And I'm going to tell you that 9.5 out of 10 times I haven't needed to buy any storage at all. Like I've been able to repurpose storage that I didn't even realize I had most of the time. So somebody put a comment on one of my videos recently saying that they would love to see me doing some organizing at my house. And I want to say that filled me with dread. And I think it's personality type as well. So firstly, I don't feel like I'm in a position to be doing any organizing. And secondly, I'm just not sure I'm an organized person. Like, does that make sense? I don't know. But like, I feel like I am like somebody that just wants to throw things into cupboards, into areas where they like belong. But I don't want to be like having to micro organize stuff. I like to have like big tubs where you have like just stuff thrown in. So we have that with our toy storage at home. We have a Kallax unit, and then like all of the train stuff goes in one tub. Everything that is like musical instruments goes in another tub. Fancy dress clothes have 5 tubs that they go in, and that's as organised as they get. So I used to hang like all the fancy dress up on a rail, and it was just too much organisation. Like I don't have the time to manage that. I do have the time to scoop things up and just put them into tubs. And so that is how I have been operating. And I was thinking about this, like what would I do if I was going to organize things, like properly organize things? So I had like a beautiful pantry I opened up, and you know everything was in like tubs and glass jars. What would that kind of realistically look like for me? And I just can't imagine it. So for now, organizing things, I just don't feel like I'm there yet. Like honestly, I feel like I need to declutter more until I have actually space in my life to like physically space for organizers, and then the space, you know, time to manage them. Because I do think the more organized your house is, the harder it is in a way to stay on top of things. Like you've got to be decanting stuff from packaging into nice little organizers in your pantry. And I don't do that. I just put boxes as they come into the house, like that, you know, there's very little that I decant into anything else. It stays in its original packaging and that's it. So the organising, not for me. I did buy some organisers in the past for my mum's utility room actually when I did the cupboards, which I never got around to using, but we found those later on in this particular project. And I have left them on the side to try to do some organising at my mum's. So I will let you know how that goes. But yeah, let me know what you think of that. Like, are you an organised, aesthetically pleasing, decant everything into a special, like little, you know, container sort of person? Or are you a just chuck it in and I know where roughly things are? Because I definitely fall into that second camp. So I am doing a bit of cleaning as I go in here. Often when I'm doing like decluttering, I say like just declutter, don't do any cleaning, because cleaning is like so much easier once once an area is fully decluttered. But because I am putting things back on this windowsill, we're not leaving this windowsill bare. My mum likes to have stuff. She's got little pots and things here which she likes the look of on the windowsill. And so they're very rarely removed, so the windowsill is entirely clear in order for it to be cleaned. So while it is clear, let's give it a proper clean. So that's what I'm doing. I'm giving the plants some water while we're there, because I know that this is going to be a very difficult time for us. Even though we were at this stage, day 2, following my stepdad's stroke, we faced this before. We faced it in the past. It was an incredibly long, months long journey of recovery. So what you can see here now is me realizing that we have a problem. And that problem is loads of little bugs covering the wall. So I'm just trying to remove them. Luckily, they didn't seem to be flying bugs. Trying to remove them, get rid of them. And I quickly established that they had been in some of the animal food that my mum had on the utility floor. So she has been feeding the hedgehogs. She's got hedgehogs in the garden. They come out late at night, and she's got special hedgehog feed for them. And as well as the hedgehog feed, she also had a packet of bird seeds to feed the birds. I established that these bugs were in the bird seed. So after a bit of faffing around, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to stick all this animal feed outside for now and worry about that later and tackle the bugs. It took a while. I kept finding more bugs. They had got everywhere. So we haven't noticed these bugs before. I haven't noticed them in the utility room or anywhere else. My mum looked them up because they were a bug that we haven't seen before. And apparently they usually are found outside in plants. But I assume that, there were some in the feed and they multiply apparently really quickly. And they don't need boy and girl bugs to multiply. They can just do that all by themselves. Aren't they talented? My mum did tell me what they were called. I want to say it was something like a flitch. Oh my goodness. Don't look that up though. That sounds about right, but I'm not confident. But it's something like that. And we ended up spraying the room with bug killer, and we haven't seen any more since. So we did, clear out some coats and spray the room thoroughly the next day. But we were the next day still finding bugs on the wall and in that particular area. They didn't seem to stray very far, but we didn't want to risk it. So I feel like we've tackled the bug issue. And again, I think when things like that happen, I do feel like it's a little bit of the universe just pointing you in the direction you need to be. The universe basically saying, you've got a problem here. You don't know it yet, but you need to uncover it. So maybe you should get up and clean and declutter the utility room and uncover this issue, because I have uncovered quite a few issues when I have been decluttering recently. Recently at my house, I decluttered the shed and found a whole pot of paint had been spilt. It had fallen, it opened up, spilt everywhere in the back of the shed, but it wasn't yet fully dried, which meant I could more easily clean it up. And because where it had gone over our strimmer wire and everything, I think if it had fully dried, it would have been a flipping nightmare. I'd have had to buy a new strimmer, I think. So again, I feel like it's the universe showing us what we need. I'm not a particularly religious person, but I would say I'm a spiritual person. And I do believe we have, there is energy guiding us. So that's my take. So now in the utility, I am tidying up what I would say is probably the most chaotic corner, because it's where everything just gets chucked. And my mum had this tub which had hair stuff in, hair brushes, hair straighteners, hair bands, clips, and all that sort of thing. And as I was taking them out, I realised there were loads and loads of keys in the bottom, which I thought was really bizarre. The next day when I asked my mum about it, so by this point everyone's gone to bed except me, when I asked my mum about it, she was like, oh yeah, well it wasn't supposed to be a hair tub, it was actually a tub of keys, and then I kept chucking hair stuff in it, so it became the hair tub with keys in the bottom. So yeah, we did a bit of organising as part of this, because whilst I am not a super organised person, I do like to have clearly different categories away from each other. So there were a couple of old ice cream tubs here. Again, just use the storage that you have. You don't need to buy fancy boxes. This is a utility room after all. Most of the time the door is shut to it. We don't invite guests in to mooch around the utility often. So we can have keys in an old ice cream tub. This is absolutely fine. The hair products tub was pretty decent, was not an ice cream tub. I gave that a good clean out because it was very grubby at the bottom, and used that for all of the hair stuff. And then Kitty's in an old ice cream tub. And we also had some like DIY stuff. We had some tools, we had screwdrivers and things like that. So I put those into the bigger ice cream tub. And if I'm honest, I think it could be good to get like a proper mini toolbox, like a nice metal one perhaps, to have in the utility room, or ideally clear out one of these drawers in the utility room and have that as like the DIY drawer. So I would really like to get some stuff off of the work surfaces. And now I did manage to get some stuff off the work surfaces, but not as much as I would have liked. So we still have quite a bit out on the side. In some ways, that's okay, like, because my folks are used to, you know, having some things out that they use regularly. For example, hairbrush, hair straighteners, like there's a little mirror there you can see just above me. That is where my mum stands to do her hair every morning. So after she's put makeup on, she stands there, she straightens her hair, she brushes her hair, and she has the little mirror to use, and that works well for her. That is her routine. So what I don't want to do is remove, you know, all of the hair stuff from the area that she needs it in and have her like searching for it every day. Like if that works, she's a very visual person, she likes to have things that she's using regularly out, that is fine. Do we need the screwdrivers out every day? Like, are we fixing something every single day? No, we are not. So in my house, I have a few screwdrivers and a few like tools that we would use more regularly, and they are just in a little plastic tub in the front of our junk drawer. So something like that I think would be ideal, because as you can see, whilst things are a little bit more organised, whilst we've got rid of rubbish, there is a lot of stuff still out on the side here, which is not ideal. Like really, we'd like a little bit of actual countertops free here and clear, so that, you know, when we're cleaning something or we're doing a job of some description, we have a bit of space to work with, but also so that like mentally we have a bit more headspace, that the area is more peaceful. Another area that I would love to tackle in a bit more detail, but I need my mum for, is this little nook here. There was quite a lot of stuff, clothes that were there that looked like they could do with a wash. I put those in the wash bin. My mum informed me later that they were her gardening clothes, so they are a bit grubby, because if she's going to do some gardening, she takes off her like nicer clothes, she puts on her gardening clothes, and out she goes to get mucky. So that's kind of just like your mucky corner. But she said there was stuff in this tub that she felt like she could get rid of. So that is great. We will come back to that another day. Very useful again for us to go through a few things. There was some stuff here which just was a bit obvious, like it was really broken, or it was washing that like it needed to go in the wash, or it was like, you know, just straight up recycling, then I could make those decisions. But otherwise, I'm just having a little bit of a tidy up more than anything here. And so that I know a bit more of what is there, and I can have that conversation with my mum, which I did the following day, about what we might do in the future. So this is a reminder of what we started with. Like every single bit of like work surface has got stuff on it. We have got quite a bit of stuff on the floor and quite a bit of stuff behind the door here. Now, while I'm going to show you where we ended up with this room, we're not done yet, okay? I thought I was done, but we are not done. Do not switch off, because we did more decluttering the following day, but I want to show you where I got to after, I want to say in total, it was nearly 2.5 hours for me to get to this point. We got some workspace here. We got rid of most of the bugs. I thought it were all of them, but it wasn't all of them. Loads of rubbish from back here I managed to get rid of. We still have a few little piles of things, and that's okay, because this is just the start of this process. I'm totally going to come back and tackle that area. I am not in this video, But while I'm here at my mum's, I'm going to tackle this properly. And we're going to get a bit more stuff removed from the utility room. So the following day, my mum, hence the outfit change, my mum said to me, do you know what, Nat, like I'd really like to tackle this other cupboard in the utility room. So during a previous recent visit, we tackled the cupboard which is closest to the camera, and we got rid of loads from there, and that's looking so much better. But we didn't touch this other cupboard at all. It has, and I should have shown you it beforehand, but I didn't show you what it looked like at the bottom. But imagine there's lots of coats and jackets and things and smart kind of suit jackets hanging up in this cupboard. And then at the bottom of the cupboard, we had the slow cooker, bread maker, egg poacher, and a load of rubbish, basically. It's the only way I can describe it. It was heaped up quite high, so that they kind of merged, rubbish and coats merging together in disharmony. And it was the bottom of this cupboard that my mum wanted to tackle. So my mum has arthritis. If you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that. Particularly bad in her back, in her hands. So I insisted that she sat down while I'm going through things. That is something that works better for us. So I need her to make a few decisions because I don't know what everything is. But I don't need her to be, hands and knees pulling stuff out with me. I love that bit. And then she can just help me with organising things. So we had some scarves here, and she was like, why did I keep these scarves? They're not silk scarves. Perhaps she had a project in mind. She does love sewing and making things, but we decided that those could go to the charity shop. And some random things, that this was a little watch cushion to a watch which is well loved, well worn. We're not going to take it back anywhere. But then again, I feel like when you buy a nice item and it comes with other stuff, we all have a bit of a tendency to hold on to those things, like, oh, maybe I will need this one day in the future. But unless you're going to be selling that watch, we don't need the watch cushion. So we were able to make decisions to get rid of things like that. Again, we found a fair bit of recycling, but we also found some real treasures. So there was an envelope, like just a padded brown envelope, and I emptied it out and discovered there were loads of cufflinks, tie pins, that sort of thing in there. And my mum remembered that it was something she'd bought at an auction. And my mum and stepdad used to love going to auctions, buying treasures, doing things up for their use in the house, and then like presents for other people. So this was a lot they had bought at previous auction, and then my mum had forgotten about it. So she put it in the cupboard to sort out another day and had forgotten about it. So she had in mind giving it to my boys. My boys are only 7 and 5, but they are obsessed with being really smart and wearing suits, which is so cute. They don't have shirts that they can wear cufflinks for at the moment, but my eldest in particular is desperate for me to get him one. They do have adorable like three-piece suits, and they've been wearing them a lot recently, actually, which is really, really cute. So they do wear ties. They've got lots of different ties. They will love a tie pin. So my mum is going to split the cufflinks and tie pins, because there's luckily, like, again, it's like the universe. 2 tie pins, and there's these tie clips, 2 tie clips, and then I don't know, maybe like 10 sets of cufflinks. So there is plenty there for her to split them into 2 like lots for the boys. Did you know what that thing was that you saw my mum holding up there? Because apparently you put wool on it, and then when you're knitting, it spins around. So I did not know what it was. I was honestly like, what is this? Can we bin it? But apparently we couldn't bin it. But I had organised in the other cupboard a couple of little boxes of wool. So it went in there. And do you know what? As I'm going through this video and talking to you about organising things, maybe I'm more of an organised person than I give myself credit for, because there were clearly quite a few areas that I have organised well previously in my mum's house anyway. So do you know, maybe I could challenge myself to be a bit more organised in my house, get myself some cute little organisers. We will see. I actually had planned to do a deep cleaning series after this. So I wanted to do some deep cleaning, a bit more decluttering, and then start on my DIY projects. So that was my plan. But for now, life's just a little bit in limbo. My plan is spend time with family, especially my stepdad, mostly be at hospital, Try not to eat too much rubbish because I've definitely been eating my feelings this past week. Survival, basically. So here's everything that we decluttered. This was the first day, okay? So here's everything that I decluttered the first day of this particular project. Most of you can see it's just there's some rubbish, a few bits of recycling, and this was day 2. Look at this mountain of stuff that came out of the bottom of the cupboard. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.